Hey everybody, Yankee here. For those of you out there that aren't already aware, the Biden administration has launched their newest attack on legal, law-abiding gun owners in this country, citizens who exercise their Second Amendment rights. They have put forward their newest scheme to turn everyone into felons, or at least turn people into felons anytime they want to accuse them of something. That gives them a little bit more power to abuse their authority. What they're doing is they're changing a rule at the ATF, and that's right, they're changing a rule at the ATF. They're legislating without Congress being involved, which they love to do, and the Supreme Court says can't do that, but they do it all the time, and Congress is fine with it. Don't think Congress is, they need to stop that. No, Congress wants them doing it because Congress has to get reelected, so they don't want dirt on their hands when it comes election time. So when they have things that they want done that are unseemly, they pass it down to these bureaucrats in the ATF and other ABC agencies to do it themselves because they aren't held accountable by anybody. So they get what they want. The government gets more power. They get to pretend like, oh my God, I had no idea, when they know very well they could stop it at any time. But this new rule that they're putting forward is changing who needs an FFL license. Used to be in this country, if you were engaged in the business of selling firearms and that business earned you a primary portion of your income, a substantial portion of your income, then you needed a license. But if you were someone just transferring your own private property from one citizen to another, engaging in the time-honored right to do so without government intervention, well, now you can be a felon, even if you just do it once. All you got to do is make a profit, period. If you sell one gun and make a profit, they can accuse you of being a felon. Doesn't mean you are one. Maybe you didn't make a profit. All they got to do is say you did, though, because in the past, it didn't matter if you made a profit or not. They'd have to show that it was your business and you were making the most of your living off of it. But now, all they got to do is say, hey, we think you made a profit. You're a felon. They can come get you, lock you up if you're lucky. If you're unlucky, they'll do like they love to do, and they'll just kick your door down at 6 a.m. And if you so much as stand up or jump out of bed, they'll shoot you in the face. And then they don't even have to prove you did what they said you did. Because what are you going to do? Defend yourself from the grave? You can't. So that's what they're doing, basically. They're changing the rule to say if you make a profit off selling guns, you have to have a license or else you're a felon for doing it. And in the past, that's not been the case. Now, the scariest part about this law is who decides what's a profit? Who defines that? It's very vague. If I bought a gun in 1987 and I paid $200 for it, I still own it. Now let's say the market value on it's $500 now, and I sell it for $350. Well, I paid $200. Now I have $350. Government can say you made a $150 profit. In reality, the market value of that item was $500, and that was my property, so I had $500 worth of property. I traded my $500 in hard goods for $350 in paper goods. I actually lost $150. But the government could very easily say, and make it look like in a news brief, that, he made profit off selling guns. And a lot of people right now are going to say, that ain't going to work because, there's exceptions for selling from your own private collection. Well, how long does something got to be in my collection? Does it got to be a year, 2 years, 10 years? I've bought guns that I hated and sold the same day. Does that make me a felon if they accuse me of making a profit? I mean, I'm probably not going to make a profit. Most of us don't make profit off guns. So this isn't going to affect most of us. And the people it does affect that actually break the law, they're probably going to keep breaking the law anyway. But those of us that are legal law-abiding citizens are probably never actually going to make a profit off of a gun because we all know guns are money takers, not money makers for most people. We're not out there buying at retail or buying at wholesale, selling at retail. We buy at retail, we sell at retail, or close to it as we can get. So it isn't going to affect most of us, period. So I'm not going to run around like, oh my God, this is going to affect all of us. No, it's 99.9% of us are never going to violate this law. But here's the thing, you don't have to actually violate it. It's vague enough that they just have to say you did. So if I turn around and sell a gun, like I said, that I bought in 1987, sell it in 2024, I made a profit. And if they say, well, you bought that gun with the intention of selling it, even if it was 40 years ago you bought it, you bought it thinking, eventually this will be worth more money and I'll resell it. Well, that could put me in some gray area. I could get in trouble. Because like I said, is there a time limit on if I've owned it for this long, you can't go after me if I make a profit now? Because I don't think that's in the rule. So, and plus, like I said, the rule's so vague, they don't care. All they got to do is be able to accuse you of something to harass you. And this just gives them something else they can accuse you of. And it's going to make everybody afraid to sell guns. And that's what they really want. They don't want any legal, law-abiding citizens selling guns. That's who they want to intimidate. You think they're going after the people that are breaking the law or transferring guns to cartels or stuff. No, that's not what the goal of this bill is, or this rule. The goal of it is to intimidate you and me into never selling guns again. And we'll talk about that more here in a second. Another exception is supposed to be inheritance. Also, some people are going to bring that up. But who's to determine what's inherited? Do I got to prove it was inherited before I can sell it? And if I sell it, if I inherited it, I didn't pay anything for it. So is anything a profit? And then I got to prove it was inherited? What about like with my dad, my stepdad, who passed away? And all his property became my mom's property. And she gave me the guns. Does that count as inherited, or is that just something my mom gave me? It doesn't really count. Didn't pass through in a will or anything. So gray area there. Didn't come after anybody they want to come after, like I said. Because like I said, they just have to say you made a profit. That's all they got to say now. They don't got to say, oh, look, you've engaged in massive amounts of sales. It's the primary source of your income or any of that. Just you made a profit off selling a gun. So you should have had an FFL. And that is horrible. That is a horrible affront to our rights. Not only should we be able to transfer our property, like I said, without government interference, but this just gives them too much power to go after anybody they want to go after that sells a gun. Therefore, anybody who wants to sell their own property is going to be afraid to. They're going to be afraid to put it on the internet because this includes internet sales. If I list a gun on the internet that I'm selling, like I put it on my local forum, and then I mark it as sold, they can come get me. Kick my door in, do whatever they're going to do. Because they can say, you sold this gun. We think you might have made a profit. Because we don't know what you paid for it. So you got to prove what you paid for it. Oh, wait, you're dead already? Well, yeah, I guess you're not going to prove what you paid for it. I think I made my point on that. Rules like this are heinous. They're solely designed to intimidate the law-abiding and allow the government to be able to persecute whoever they want. Not prosecute, that's a different word, but persecute. They'll be able to persecute anyone that sells a gun. And like I said, that's going to intimidate people into not selling guns. Now, criminals will keep doing what they're doing because they're criminals. They don't care about if there's a new rule or not. They were already skirting the law. And the ones that are the bad people doing it, the ones sending guns to cartels and stuff, well, that's mostly the government. Our government gives more guns to the cartels than any private citizen. But getting off topic there. Back to what I was saying here. You sell a gun, you make a profit, they can come after you under this new rule. It's ridiculous. I don't even believe in FFLs, period. I don't believe in background checks. I think if you're too dangerous to own a gun because of past criminal history or because of mental incompetence, well, then we should either have a criminal system that jails people and rehabilitates people and then gives them a means to get back on their feet when they get out, and have a mental health system that works instead of trying to punish everybody for what a few small people might do, a small number of people might do. It's like saying, well, all cars can only go 45 miles an hour because some people abuse the right speed. And they're actually trying to do that in some places, but it probably won't work because most people aren't scared of cars. You know, they haven't been demonized like guns have. Even though they're far more dangerous and you're far more likely to lose a loved one to a car than a gun, people they lose their minds about guns because they've been taught to be afraid of them when cars are far more deadly. Every time you get in your car, you're in more danger than if you're in the room with a gun. So just the way things are. But getting back to the topic, like I said, this new rule just makes it to where the government can abuse their authority. Just if you sell something, don't think, well, I'm selling this, I'm not making a profit. Well, they don't got to prove it. They just got to accuse you of it to come after you. Because this new rule is very vague. You know, what is a profit? Hey, could they say, hey, you had this gun, you're $30 overdrawn in your bank account, you sold it for enough to cover your overdraw and then have profit in your account. So it's regardless of what you bought it for, you profited from selling it because you profited from the fact that you're now not in debt to the bank. They can come after anybody that sells a gun. And that's, like I said, that's what they want. They want, like I said earlier, to intimidate legal, law-abiding citizens to not sell guns because that's been one of the thorns in their side forever, that we can transfer property between us and there's no record of that, so they don't know who has what. And how do they know whose door to kick in first? How do they know who to take out quietly if they don't know who has what. If they're getting ready to crack down and they don't know who has enough guns to arm their neighbors or who has most of the stuff that they're afraid will be used against them, how do they know to go to that guy's house first in the middle of the night and take him out before they actually start cracking down? They don't, because they don't know who has what. That's the real reason behind laws like this or rules like this, is to intimidate you, the legal, law-abiding citizen, into doing what they want you to do, and that's not transfer firearms. Because under this new rule, if you transfer a firearm even once, you could face a hailstorm of problems, maybe even a hailstorm of bullets, as we've seen in the past, like in Little Rock, Arkansas. So this is heinous, even though it's not going to affect the vast majority of us. The few people it would take out are inconsequential. It's not like even guns from private sales are involved in a massive number of crimes. They're not. The vast majority of crimes committed by firearms are people who bought the guns legally. So it's not going to solve crimes. It's just about giving them the power to go after whoever they want because of a very vague rule. And it's about intimidating legal, law-abiding citizens into not exercising the rights that they should enjoy in this country.